We're just about a month done into the regular season. Teams have now hit the 10-game mark, and we're progressing into the next stage of this regular season. We've seen a ton in terms of a player fluctuation, in terms of performance, and these are 7 players that we believe right now are absolutely skyrocketing in terms of value, not only based off the past couple weeks, but what we've seen up until this point. So be sure to check out every single player on this list, as these 7 players have seen a massive jump in terms of their value as of late. Starting us off, we have Noah Dobson, who is absolutely just taking a massive jump, not only just at the beginning of the year, but has continued to all through his first 10 games. He's got 10 points so far. Yes, he's the #1 power play D on the Islanders, but at the same time, it's like they don't really produce a lot in terms of their power play or in terms of a team just in general. So we thought that Noah Dobson's upside was kind of capped at similar to what it was last season, where he's playing over 25 minutes average time on ice, which is a significant jump from what we saw from last year. He is the clear power play 1 defenseman there. He isn't challenged at all with anybody else on the roster. Not only is Dobson producing at an elite rate right now, but he's an absolute block machine. He's got 30 blocks on the year already, and honestly, he's on pace for over 240 blocks for the year. I don't think that's going to happen, just again, given the fact that that rarely ever happens. You see that big of a jump in terms of defensemen, but he is an absolute block machine, and historically he has been. I think he's got 60-point upside with 190 plus shot upside, as we've seen historically with him as well too. He loves to shoot the puck, and anywhere over 170 blocks for Dobson, especially given the fact that he's now playing so many minutes. There's just so much more in terms of opportunity that he's getting, especially with his peripheral stats. Like I said, blocks, he doesn't really hit too much outside of that. Dobson's an absolute stud in terms of shot and blocks, and now that he's seeing around point a game production, he is absolutely skyrocketing in terms of defenseman for this season. Up next is Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks. 79% owned. His ownership has jumped significantly over the past couple weeks, and that's because he's got 10 points in his last 7 games. He is an emerging superstar in the National Hockey League right now. Anaheim seems to be just playing him in the role that he's meant to play, where he's able to chip in offensively and still be that dynamic two-way player that we've seen out of him. He averages around 2.6 shots per game. His shots per 60 are up from 7.9 to 9.2. These are great indications that McTavish is having a big breakout season. His average time on ice is up 2 minutes from last season. We saw him with a 43-point total in his rookie year. Doesn't seem like the sophomore slump is hitting him just as bad as other players, but the opportunity and the ice time that McTavish is getting, and along with the fact that he's producing at such a great rate so far, makes him an absolute gem if you were able to pick him up off waiver wire. He's been absolutely lights out for the Ducks, and I expect it to continue. Cam Talbot is now the clear-cut #1 goalie for the LA Kings. He's won 4 of his last 5 games and started in 9 of the last 11. He's averaged a .945 save percentage over his last 5 games played. He just continues to see a ton of volume, and the play has been a very good out of Talbot recently, especially the fact that Copley hasn't been great at all when he's come into play. So Talbot just seems to be the clear-cut #1 goalie in LA right now. His value's absolutely skyrocketing. LA seems like an absolute wagon so far this season. They're very deep, very good defensively. They're fast, they're strong. They just have all the tools to be one of the better teams in the National Hockey League. If you manage to pick right out of Talbot and Copley, you're absolutely reaping the rewards right now. If you ended up snagging both, I think just it's clear cut that Talbot is the #1 guy right now, and you probably don't need Copley at this point, but he's been absolutely lights out for the Kings, and I expect the volume and the play to continue. It was looking like a very slow start for Evander Kane so far early on in the season. A lot of people I saw were panicking on him early, but so far he's got 6 points in his last 5 games played. He is second currently in the National Hockey League for hits, so if you're in a bangers league, chances are you've just been holding on to this guy and are now reaping the rewards of his production. He has great shot volume as well too, averages around 3 shots per game. So these are good indications that Kane will continue to be the peripherals machine that we anticipated. My biggest concern with Kane going into the season was he wasn't great in terms of his production last year, even when he was healthy. But if Kane is continuing to produce at the rate that he currently is, especially in his last 5 games played, and this is including when Edmonton struggled and we haven't seen outer worldly things out of McDavid and Draisaitl just yet. I think Kane's value is only going to continue to get better. In 4 of his last 5 games, his average time on ice has been above 19 minutes as well. He's been playing very well for the Oilers in a very, very tough time for the team right now. I still think there is a ton of upside with this guy, especially when the Oilers start to get rolling. I don't see the slump continuing just the way it's been so far. If they lose to San Jose on Thursday, there might be some drastic measures that need to be made. But in terms of Evander Kane, his value is absolutely skyrocketing right now because of his recent production. We've talked about Jesperi Kotkaniemi in previous videos on the channel. He's now a point a game, 12 points in his last 12. Consistency is so important when it comes to looking at breakout candidates, and Kotkaniemi has been great. His shots per 60 are up from 6.4 to 9.9. This is another great indicator that he is poised for a breakout season. If he starts to shoot the puck more, he just adds more value in terms of a fantasy asset. He's a mainstay on lines 2 and power play 2. I think they're experimenting a lot of the time with their power play. They like to move Svechnikov up and down. They like to move other guys like Nichis and Jarvis up and down on the power play. So it's not terrible that Kotkaniemi is on the second power play unit, as they often are ending up splitting their units as a whole. He's going to continue to profit off of guys like Jarvis and Nichis playing on that second line. Jarvis, again, gets moved up and down. Same with Svechnikov. But as long as he's got some type of exposure to Jarvis, Nichis, Svechnikov, for example, he's going to continue to profit off of them, which I really, really like, especially Kotkaniemi being 34% owned. His time on ice is a little inconsistent, but you got to remember it's the Carolina Hurricanes. The Canes love to play their depth forwards. So I think if his shots per 60 stay roughly where it's at right now and he continues to produce, whether it's on the power play or at 5-on-5, Kotkaniemi is poised for a big breakout. His value just seems to be absolutely skyrocketing every time I take a look at him. Up next is Lawson Crouse of the Arizona Coyotes. He's got 7 points in his last 5 games played. He is a great source of shots and hits when it comes to just depth forwards or guys that are in deeper leagues as well too. This guy's an absolute gem in terms of peripherals. 24 goals, 21 assists, 151 shots, and 194 hits last season. These are great numbers. 45 points, great shot volume, great hit volume as well too. His shots per 60 are actually up this year as well too, which is a good indication. And he's just got more opportunity to play with talent around him, as we've seen on Arizona, whether it's with Logan Cooley on the second line. Nick Bjugstad's actually been pretty hot on that line as well too with Crouse so far in the past couple games. So he's definitely reaping some rewards in terms of production. I think he's poised for a 50-plus point year with 170-plus shots and 200-plus hits. If he can continue to see the opportunity that he is seeing right now, playing that second line and getting those second line minutes, I think Crouse is a great deep league option, especially in banger leagues if you need some production and some great hit volume along with some decent shot volume. Another deeper league option, or just a player in general whose value is skyrocketing as of late, is Erik Gustafsson at 19% owned. He is the power play 1 defenseman on the New York Rangers right now, with Adam Fox being on LTIR. Gustafsson is already seeing over a 2-minute increase in average time on ice with Fox being injured. The Rangers are ranked 4th currently in the National Hockey League in terms of power play percentage and are usually a top 10 team in terms of power play percentage consistently over the past couple years. Really, the only thing you have to worry about with Gustafsson is he won't get you a ton of peripherals. He's very reliant on power play points and power play opportunity. However, Gustafsson has already picked up a couple points last game without having any power play points, so this is a good sign that he's just able to produce more given his increase in average time on ice. The more opportunity that's presented to Gustafsson and the fact that he's already playing power play 1 on an elite power play to begin with, he's going to give you more production as a whole. So if you need a point producing defenseman, especially with power play upside, Erik Gustafsson's a great option. He's historically a 40-plus point defenseman, and just given this opportunity, I think the production is going to come and his ownership percentage is going to skyrocket. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Is there anybody else that you guys saw that I didn't include in this list that is absolutely skyrocketing in terms of value? I also considered Ryan O'Reilly, for example, but he just did have his first career hat trick last game, so that kind of skewed his production a little bit, so I didn't want to include him on this list. But let me know in the comments down below other players that you think are absolutely skyrocketing in value that we haven't covered in previous must-add or skyrocketing players videos. Love to hear your guys' feedback as always. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day.